What's up, guys? It's me again, Christian Rodriguez. Make this super quick videos, but I'm going to talk about 5 things that you should stop doing if you're an ambitious man, right? So I'll just get started. So the first thing you shouldn't do is stop telling people your goals. Stop announcing your goals. Stop telling people your goals. And some people I know I've heard some guys say you should tell people your goals so they can help you, or blah blah blah, or whatever BS they try to tell you. But I'm going to give you a counter argument to that. And my argument to sharing your goals is that I think it's more harmful than good. First of all, when you tell people your goals, you're giving yourself a form of a sense of achievement, as if you accomplished that goal, which you didn't. You didn't accomplish that goal whatsoever, but you're giving yourself the illusion that you achieved that goal, because you get like a dopamine hit when you talk about, oh, I really want to get fluent in French, as an example, right? You get a sense of achievement from it, but you still haven't done the work. You still haven't gone through the mud, the grind to actually achieve that goal. So it's kind of pointless to talk about it. It's a waste of time. That's the first reason why. The second reason why I don't think you should announce your goals is, if you've read the 48 Laws of Power, a book that I referenced very often in this channel. Robert Greene talks about, I think it's law 2, no, it's law 3. It's conceal your intentions. And he basically talks about conceal your intentions, because if you do not conceal your intentions, people will place their doubt onto you. They'll plant a seed of doubt into your head, and you'll likely not achieve your goals, or you'll increase your chances of quitting your goals when it starts getting hard, because other people already planted seeds of doubt in your head, right? And I really want to talk about that, because a lot of people will tell their goals to, say, a friend or family member. And the thing is, the family member or the friend might give you the advice, but they're going to give you the advice from their own narrow perspective. They're going to give you the advice based on their own failures, their own inadequacies, or their own limitations. Or it could just be outright envy, if we're going to be completely honest. Right? I've made a video on this the other day, so I'm not going to get too far into envy, but it could just be envy. They could be like, "Oh, I don't want that guy achieving that. I'm just going to tell him not to do it because it's threatening to my identity." So, dude, there's no fucking reason why you should be telling people your goals. Do not announce your goals to people. Trust me, do not announce it. If you really need to talk about it with someone, grab a piece of paper and write them down. Just write it down on a piece of paper. And if you have to do it often, just do it often, but keep it sacred to yourself. That's just personal preference for me. I've heard other people say it as well, right? I've heard Brandon Carter say it, right? Robert Greene obviously mentions it in the 48 Laws of Power. So seriously, just don't fucking mention your goals. Don't mention your intentions, right? And yeah, and once you achieve the goals, it's gonna seem like it just happened suddenly, but you've been working on it for years, which is the little thing no one knows. When I moved here to Chicago, I knew I was moving here. For months I knew I was moving here, but I didn't tell people in New York, "Oh, I'm moving to Chicago." People would have said, "Chicago's cold, Chicago's dangerous." I didn't care. I just didn't tell anyone. And yeah, even when I started posting on YouTube, I knew I was going to start posting on YouTube for a long time before I started posting on YouTube, right? I would say the one mistake is I didn't start sooner. But yeah, I started posting on YouTube, and I didn't tell anyone. I still haven't really told anyone that I'm posting on YouTube, cuz at the end of the day, it's not their problem. It's not. I don't need to hear, "Oh, it's social media," or like, you don't need to hear that. You really don't. It doesn't fucking matter. So, the second thing you should stop doing, you have to stop hanging out with losers, or just negative people in general, right? Because the thing about when you hang out with losers, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I know you've heard this saying, but I want to repeat it. I want to reinforce this saying, because this saying is so strong, right? If you hang out with 5 broke, fat, out of shape losers who bitch and moan all the time, you're going to end up being the 6, right? If you hang out with 5 winners who have a growth mindset are physically in shape and already talking about scaling their business, or they've scaled their business and they're talking about selling it for millions, then you'll likely be the six. And the point is, it's very strong, right? And if you back to referencing the 48 laws of power, law 10, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. This goes with avoiding unhappy and unlucky, because if you hang out with losers, right? Losers are likely fucking unhappy, they're unlucky, they're bitching, they're gossiping about others. And that's just gonna crowd your judgment. That's gonna distract you from your mission. You're just gonna, you're gonna feel like off. You know that feeling that you get when you're around certain people, that you just feel off. You feel like your energy's gone. Like that, you got to take that seriously, right? And I don't care if you knew him since you were in middle school. Like, just you could always find new friends who match your future self, right? Or your current self right now. So don't hang out with losers. Don't hang out with the wrong crowd, because the wrong people will throw your shit off faster, right? You don't want to carry dead weight while you're climbing Mount Everest, right? You want to climb Mount Everest, and maybe you want to climb with people who've already climbed Mount Everest, or people who are hungry as you to climb to get to the top of the summit. You don't want to hang out with losers who are just going to be dead weight and they're going to make it harder for you to get to the top. So, because if you think about it, our goals, they're hard enough to achieve. They're hard enough, so why make it even harder by carrying dead weight? All right, so the third reason, the third thing, right, that you have to stop doing is you have to stop having those weeks of just getting drunk, doing drugs, right, whatever, smoking the weed, right, and the going out. I Sure, I'm gonna get more specific because people are gonna misinterpret what I'm saying. If you want to go out every once in a while, right, maybe it's every once in a blue moon, there's an event. Sure, go out, go enjoy yourself, whatever, right? I'm not here to judge. But I'm talking about the guys who are getting drunk every weekend. The guys who are always, oh, let's go have a beer. Let's go have a beer with the boys. Let's go smoke that weed and chill all day, right? I'm talking about those guys. If we're going to be completely honest, like that's I used to do that. So I'm not going to be here and pretend that I've never done it. Like I used to, I used to go out, drink, smoke weed, whatever, when I was like in my early 20s. And I'm going to say, even my mid 20s, I did it at some point. And the thing I'm going to say is, it's a big waste of time. It's a big waste of money. You're slowly going to get fat. Let's be honest. You're going to be drinking, usually what goes with that lifestyle, which is I'm going to talk about next. But it's not good. It's a waste of time. You're going to wake up with a greasy hangover. You're not going to be able to work on your goals the next day. You're not going to be able to go to the gym the next day. You're gonna be you're gonna be groggy. It's gonna take longer to recover, especially the older you get. You're also not around the right people as well, right? When you're doing this type of lifestyle, you're not gonna be around people who are like minded like us, that do this type of thing, right? So yeah, you just gotta cut off the fucking days of drinking, the days of going out, right? You have to heavily at least cut it back, right? I recommend you just cut it off entirely. Just go cold turkey. Don't do it at all, right? Especially if you haven't reached your goals yet in your self improvement journey. I don't think drinking is really conducive to your goals, right? For the vast majority of cases, it's not. It's not conducive. Smoking weed is not conducive, right? When you're at the top, you could do whatever you want. You could drink the Louis the 14th, which is like a $10,000 bottle of liquor, right? You could drink the finest wines, champagnes. You can have the best weed and the best venues, right? You reach the top. But if you're broke, like, what's the point of wasting your time in this environment that's going to hold you back? It's pointless, right? So the fourth thing, right, is you have to stop eating like a fucking child. And yes, I'm talking about it because it's a common occurrence. I see this, right? I see. Sure, I get it. Sometimes we don't all we have to eat what's convenient for us, right? I get it, right? Which is why I track my macros. But stop eating like a child. Stop eating the fucking cereal, right? Stop eating the sugary oatmeal with like 30 grams of sugar. Stop eating what else? What's another thing? A large venti caramel frappuccino from Starbucks, right? That's easily you can easily consume 1,000 calories, and you have that with like a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel, right? Whatever, right? Easily you consume like 1,500 calories in the morning, and it's mostly empty calories, right? It's a lot of carbs, bread, very little protein, right? It's some protein, but it's not that much protein, and you just overly consume that, and then you realize why 70% of Americans are overweight. That's the main reason why. So stop eating like a child. Stop putting ketchup on everything. Stop eating like you're 10 years old, right? Like if you're an adult male watching this, if you're 18 and up, I'll give you leeway. If you're 21 and up, you should be eating a lot better. You should be focusing on eating proteins, right? You should stop fucking going to Starbucks and getting the sugary coffee drinks or Dunkin' Donuts. Same shit. Stop eating sugary pancakes for breakfast, which is basically cake for breakfast, right? It's part of I know a big thing of the American diet is especially the breakfast food is basically dessert in disguise. Waffles, Eggos, pancakes with maple syrup on it, um, donuts for breakfast, bagels, right? And bagels are good. I'm from New York. Bagels are delicious, but come on, if you're eating that every day, it's easily a ton of calories with very little protein in it, or no protein at all. So it's kind of pointless to do that. And I talk about this because it's super easy to get fat. I think most people underestimate how easy it is to get fat, right? I track my macros. It's been a habit. I recommend you start doing it. I've been doing it for over a year, and I know exactly, like, sure, it's not 100% accurate, but I know how many calories I consume each day. If I'm on a surplus, if I'm on a deficit, I know it because I track everything I eat. It also stops me from just binge eating because there's friction to tracking my macros. There's friction. I have to put it into my Fitness Pal. But that's helped me not eat like a pig. I don't overeat. Unless I'm bulking, then I might intentionally overeat. But if you eat like a pig, you're just gonna slowly get fat, and it's not like you just eat like a pig one day and you're just suddenly gonna get like obese. Like it happens almost like a compound effect. It happens little by little, right? You have a caramel frappuccino one day for breakfast, then you have sugary cereal, fruity pebbles, and maybe you have some pancakes on the side, and then you go to work. You're not even thinking that you probably had like close to 2,000 calories before lunch comes, and then lunch comes and you get a slice of pizza. So, oh, very good. After your slice, maybe dinner comes along and there's some meatloaf in the house, and you're already at 4,000 calories. So easily it can go up. So just be very careful with it. Be very aware that if you have to, right? This is a thing. Part of not eating like a kid, you're probably gonna have to say no to people, right? If your friends or family members want to go eat, oh, it's Pizza Friday, let's go have pizza. You're like, I'm not eating pizza. I'm not having tacos on Tuesday, right? I'm not gonna have tacos. I'm gonna go eat this chicken and rice with some broccoli. Or it doesn't have to be bland, but you know you could eat something healthy and really good, right? I'm gonna eat this instead, and people might be like, oh, like why not? Like just you know you got to enjoy life, like balance, like you know everything. You know what do people say? What's the freaking saying? Come on, uh one piece of cake won't kill you. One donut won't kill you. One pizza won't kill you, man. Don't listen to those people. Fuck them. I'm telling you. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one. and that's 5. So it's stop over consuming sports, right? Stop over consuming sports, right? So I'm going to put this down. Stop over consuming sports. And this comes from a guy who grew up a big sports fan, big, I know, sad, but Mets and Jets fan. I had season tickets. My dad had season tickets for both. We used to go to games every week. I used to watch sports like it. Like I used to study sports like crazy. I used to know all the players. I used to spend a lot of time watching listening to the podcast, watching videos on highlights, stuff like that. And I know the World Cup is coming up, which is great, but I'm not gonna let it like consume my life at the same time. And I want you guys to just know the thin line between entertainment and when it becomes an emotional attachment. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because sports, like sports are great. I love sports, right? But I'll give you an example. So the World Cup is coming up. It starts in June 11th. It's in the US, obviously, in my home country, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to watch some games, right? But I'm not going to watch every game. So the World Cup is going to have they're going to have games. And then at the same time, the UFC is having the White House card coming up, right? So that's going to be cool. What else is going to happen? And then there's going to be probably baseball's on too. So baseball is going to be on, right? And then the NFL is going to happen starting the fall, right? Then there's going to the NBA finals is on. The Knicks are in the finals too. So, there's a ton of sporting events going on. Now, if I had to watch all of the sporting games, all the sporting events, I won't watch it. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be too time consuming to watch every single game, every single event. It's going to be too time consuming. It's going to probably waste my time. And I'll be distracted. I won't be pursuing my goals. I won't be working on what I want to work on. I won't be focusing on making money. And that's just going to throw me off my game. So I see that's the issue that I see with sports is that it can be a huge waste of your time. Like a common thing. I don't know if you're from Europe or the UK, then or Australia, then it's probably different for you, but similar. But here in the US, we watch, we have football Sunday, right? So people wake up on Sunday. Maybe there's a game in London, right? You get up, you watch the game at 9:30 in the morning. Then it gets to 1 o'clock. So the regular season NFL games start, right? And usually in the East Coast. So say I watch the Jets at 1 p.m. Okay. Then 4:30 comes along. The West Coast games start. So you start watching the West Coast games. Pretty cool, right? Maybe the 49ers are playing the Seahawks. Awesome. Then, but you got to watch the primetime Sunday Night Football. So you start watching Sunday Night Football, right? So you're basically going to bed at like midnight by the time the game is done. So you just spent your entire Sunday from 9:30 in the morning to about midnight watching football all day. That is the biggest waste of time, which is what I used to do, and I know a lot of people still do that. And then there's Monday Night Football, and then there's Thursday Night Football on top of that. So it's just very time consuming to follow every single sport. And another point that I want to get to when it comes to sports is I do think that the culture around sports can kind of make you immature. And what do I mean by immature? I mean, you see grown men who are even older, like in their 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who are in the crowds. They're drunk out of their mind. They're screaming at the field. They're screaming at some 25-year-old guy on the field who's performing, making millions, and the guy on the side is paying to watch him and is probably making 40K a year or making jack shit compared to him. But he's screaming at him in the field. He's getting drunk. He might be getting into fights. He might be calling the radio show, arguing, they should fire the coach. They're doing a really bad job or whatever bullshit, right? And it just, when I see people get that emotional when it comes to something that's out of their control, like a sporting event, even politics too, but I'm going to focus on sports. It's very it's a very, it keeps the man immature. It keeps the man distracted. Dude, why are you getting so upset on something that's out of your control? Sports has to strictly be entertainment, right? Treat it as entertainment. If your team wins, that's great. You could celebrate, that's fine. And then you go back to your own life. But if you're letting it emotionally affect you to the point that you're punching the wall, your entire week is shit. You're calling the radio show, complaining, venting about some BS. You're talking about how the referee made a bad call. Sure, those things happen, but at the same time, that sports shouldn't be consuming your mind that much that it affects your emotional state. Your emotions is your problem, not anyone else's problem. It's not the sports team's problem. You have to be able to control your emotional state. And if you're reacting emotionally to whatever is happening that's out of your control, it just says a lot about your maturity level, right? And I'm not saying this to shit on people, maybe a little bit, but I'm also saying this, and I used to get like this too. So I'm not telling you this from that I'm better than you or whatever. I'm saying this because I used to be like this. But you don't want to be that grown adult man who's just getting overreactive on sports. It's not a good look. If you think of a high level guy, you think of an ambitious man, you think of a guy who's achieved greatness in life. He's not getting emotional on other things. You think Michael Jordan was getting emotional watching tennis? No, or watching another sport? No, he was focusing on his team. He was focusing on what he can do for his craft and how he can win championships. And that's what you have to focus on, right? If you want to achieve anything great in life. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Please subscribe, help me grow the channel so I can get to more people out there. And yeah, I'm gonna keep creating more stuff to help educate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.